Unlock the secrets of Skinwalker Ranch with insider access. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes content, deep dives into experiments, live chats with the team, and 24/7 live access. Join now for a free 7-day trial.
Hey everyone, welcome to the JFree906 podcast and the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch series. And here we are again tonight with Shannon and Seth. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good, party people.
Doing well. Yes, thank goodness.
I know, long time no see, right? So, yeah, we had a lot of fun last night talking it up about Chris Bledsoe and the episode that he was on with the Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. That was a lot of fun. I really had a good time with that one.
I agree.
And he's just, I don't know. I can't wait. We are going to have Mr. Chris Bledsoe on the show at some point here coming up. Let's get that banner turned off. There we go. We're going to have him on the show. We do not have a date just yet, but we are going to have Chris Bledsoe and David Russell on the show. And that'll be coming up soon, hopefully. Soon. Soon. But Shannon's all in charge of that, so she'll let us know when they.
It's no pressure on me.
Exactly.
No pressure at all. No, I do know that it's happening, so we're just waiting on a confirmation of a date.
Good. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yep.
And then, of course, we have a show coming up with John Dover and Mr. Stan Milford.
Yes.
The Paranormal Rangers. We're going to have a show coming up with those two guys pretty soon. That is on the 17th of August at 7:30. That is a Thursday night. And as I mentioned before, we're going to be doing a kind of a recap of the Skinwalker Ranch and Beyond Skinwalker. We're going to combine them kind of together, but it's mostly going to be probably about Skinwalker Ranch. And that's going to be on the 11th. That's next Friday night, the 11th at 7:30. Shannon might be a little bit late.
Mm-hmm.
She's
but
got
just a little bit.
Really cool going on. So Jim, there's Jim right there. Jim and Seth and I will get it started, and then Shannon will join when she can. So, all right. Yeah, I know. I can't wait either. I'm honestly, this is one of those people. I've always been really looking forward to meeting just about everybody that I've had on. Actually, I have everybody that's been on the show. But really, I don't know. I'm really intrigued about meeting Chris Bledsoe.
Yeah.
I mean,
you've been talking about it for a while. I feel like every time we talk about UFO God, you've always like, I would love to have a conversation with him. Like, I mean, anybody would, right? He has such a wonderful demeanor, such an interesting man and story. I'm so excited for y'all to have that conversation. I think it's gonna yield so many positive, I'm just excited.
And if folks didn't hear us talk about this last night, we David Russell brought it up. I think it was David. Was it? Maybe, I don't know if it was him or somebody, but we were talking about everybody take your laptops outside to watch the podcast outside so you can observe the night sky wherever you are. Well, it might be not night sky for everyone, depending upon where you are, but you should. Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. Chris.
It'll be a special event, outdoor podcast with Jeff.
Yes. And that's the thing I can see. I got 4 windows right here in front of me, and I can see out to the night sky. There's a couple of trees and whatnot in the way, but if there's anything that shows up here, I'll be able to see them. So, yeah. And then I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to set up a second camera, one looking at me and one looking out the window.
Oh, that's a good idea. I see a question pinned. Did I ever imagine when I joined the Insiders that it would lead me to where I am today? No. No, absolutely not. I did not foresee any of this. Now I'm just regularly appearing on podcasts, I guess.
Yeah,
like that. That was not on my bingo for life card. Definitely wouldn't have anticipated that.
How about you, Seth? Did you ever think that you would be doing what you're doing now?
No, I didn't think I'd get to meet the people that I've met through you and gotten to talk to. When you first asked me to come on, I think it was just for like a show or two.
Well,
I did the Insiders Insights.
Yes,
And after that, I think I just lucked out because I think Shannon was busy in the beginning of the season or something. But I feel like I wasn't who you had in mind for this. And here I am.
Well, I was, ever since we had lunch together in Kerrville. Was it Kerrville?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kerrville, Texas.
Yeah, Kerrville.
And you drove over, and we had lunch in Kerrville. And during that lunch, I was sitting there, we're talking, and I'm thinking, this guy might be good to have as a co-host once in a while. Let me think about this. So so I was already kind of working that angle already at that point. So, and then of course Shannon got volunteered for this. She didn't. To be on Insiders. Yeah,
I did. I got volunteered for my very first.
Oh, really?
Podcast. Yes, you haven't heard. I feel like you've heard the story. It's become
when we did
part of my legend. No, I was living in the Insiders, and I stepped away for literally like 10 minutes to take a shower or something, and in that short period of time, I came back and was told that everybody had given my name to Jeff to be on this podcast.
To be on the very first Insider Insights.
And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And I was so nervous. And now, just what I do now, I guess.
Yeah, this is what I do. I do podcasts now.
I guess I'm just a podcaster now.
Yeah, that's very true, Paul, right there. Absolutely. She is also known as, that's very true.
Thank you.
Very, very hard at it. So all the moderators do at Skinwalker Ranch. All do, as well as the team over there at member support, which is what we call them, Ryan and Dave and Mark.
Very good. Yeah.
I got it right tonight. Woo, all right. Yeah, well, I got an email from David today, so that was pretty cool. So that anyway.
That's good. Was he like, the name is not Jeremy?
Yeah, Mark's name is not Jeremy, it's Mark. But they do a great job, and they really do. And we really appreciate all that they have done. And again, talking about the Insiders, I know people say, oh, don't talk about it. But, it is, and I had that little commercial there that they have that commercial out, but they made one for me that has my link at the bottom. If you would like to check out being an insider for Skinwalker Ranch, it is an awesome program, and there is a link below down in the description. You can click on that link. It'll take you right over there, and you can sign up for the free trial. 7 day, is it? 7 day free trial?
Yes, 7 days free trial.
7 days.
Mm-hmm.
7 day free trial, and then it's $10 a month or $96 for the year.
Yeah, so it's a good deal. And as I said before, it is the best membership that I have ever been part of, truly.
I agree.
Really cool. I was showing that to Christina today. I had it up this morning. I was saying hi to a few people, and she's like, what is that? And I go, I haven't told you. Sit down right here and let me show you about this. Michelle was out there and saying hi and stuff. And so, it was really cool. So she got a chance to. She goes, we're looking at what is that? I said, that is the irrigation canal. And you can see to the side of the homestead too there or whatever. And so, I was explaining all that stuff. Yeah.
There was an escaped cow, I heard. I scrolled back and looked at it today, an escaped cow, a neighbor's cow in the irrigation canal today, which those are unexpected, like little delights of nature that we get to see on the cameras. It's very peaceful.
Yeah,
I liken it to exactly. It's almost like when people put up like a fake fireplace on their television
with the crackling.
Yeah, it's like that, but for spooky.
I had it on my phone. I had it on my phone playing one time, and I just set it down and forgot about it. And I was like, at a family member's house, and like it was the crickets. The crickets were just so loud, and someone was like, "What are those crickets?" I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
Yeah, I had that happen. When they had and I was hearing the mooing of a cow yesterday, and we were trying to figure that one out. And I thought, do they got cows on the ranch again?
The same
they did before. Yeah,
that was my same thought. I was like, am I hearing the right thing? Because that's clearly a cow mooing, but apparently it was nearby.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's funny. I love thinking about escaped cows. Or they're just like, I'm just gonna live my life. I'm gonna go over here.
Exactly. Grass is greener, right?
That's right.
Oh, right.
I heard there's a portal over there. I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, Michelle just said The cows are back at the ranch.
Oh, so
Sweet.
you guys did hear
okay,
cow.
cool.
Maybe it
ranches.
wasn't a
Cow
neighbor's cow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. We love it when our cows come back, like they're ours. Yay.
Awesome. All right. Well, we
It was
are here
fun.
tonight to speak about the season finale. The season finale of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. And, I had to, this is, I love these names that they come up with for these shows.
Me too.
I really wanted to just, whoever came up with this one, because ever since I read the name of it, and then I went over it again earlier today, I've had a song playing in my head all day.
Me too.
Same.
Metamaterial, and I don't like that song, and it's like
Material.
Now it's a metamaterial world.
in
That's what we're living in.
metamaterial world. Yeah, so that's the living in a
So you're welcome,
metamaterial
audience.
world. Huh?
That's right.
I said you're welcome, audience. If it wasn't already stuck in your head.
Now it's
We'll
gonna
see if Jim can take that and put it over your bumper music for the future.
Yeah, do a song for living in the metamaterial world. All right, can you
There
do
you
that for
go.
us?
I think so.
So it was the season finale, and really bummed about that because now, we have Phenomicon for those folks that are going out to Phenomicon. We have that to look forward to, and all right, challenge accepted. Good deal. That's gonna be cool. Yeah, do something really cool with that one. Yeah, I've never
met a material I didn't like.
Oh man,
That's
Good, Eric.
That's a scientist dad joke right
There we
there.
go.
That's
Here we go.
amazing.
There we go. All right. Yeah, I got that in there. So, but well, that was Madonna. Yeah, would she would appreciate it. Yeah, she probably would, huh? So this, like I said, sad because the season finale has arrived. But happy that Phenomicon is coming up. And for those of you who have not been to Phenomicon, you really need to go. It's really awesome. It's a fantastic event that they throw out in Vernal, Utah. And it's really cool. I mean, besides the fact that you get to go and sit and listen to all these people talking, and Expedition Bigfoot folks are going to be there. And Expedition Bigfoot is now going to be starting on the 30th of September. Is that it? September.
I thought it was the end of this month. Is it
Oh,
September?
oh, you're right. It is. Yeah. Expedition.
Are you gonna
30th of August.
Are you gonna start reviewing those episodes?
Oh yeah.
I feel like
yeah,
that's
you and Mike, right?
I feel like I should come in as a blind person to Bigfoot story.
We were talking about that. Yeah.
And have me be like, what?
Yeah, and from time to time, we're going to bring in a few others, some other people like Seth. Well, you'll probably see Seth pop in there once in a while.
I do love Expedition Bigfoot. I mean, I bring it up enough in Skinwalker Ranch talk. I'm always like, this is just like Bigfoot.
Yeah. And I told Russell Acord, he's been on the show with us.
Mm-hmm.
He came on, we had him on when we were recapping season number 3 of Expedition Bigfoot. And what a great guy. Russell Acord is just a fantastic guy. And I told him that we were going to be talking because one of the events, I don't have my event list here. I had it laying here on the desk, and now I don't have it. The event list for Phenomicon, he has got a couple of different events that he's going to be doing. One is casting, where they're showing you how to cast the with the plaster. And he's going to be taking us through that. Him and also Mariah. Mayor, they're going to be doing that. And I said I would be talking about that because I think it's a great event. I've signed up for it because I want to see him and I want to meet Maria. Well, I met her before. DNA and casting workshop with Russell and Maria Mayer. So yeah, thanks, Jim. And so that is going to be a good one. And I said, I'm going to definitely be talking about that. So if you will go there, if you are going and you haven't signed up for that one, I don't know if there's still spots open for that or not, but you should check it out. So I'm definitely going to be doing that one as well. And while we're at Phenomicon, I'd love to meet you guys. Anyone that's, whether, you're part of the insiders or not, if you just are not an insider and you'd like to watch the podcast, if you're going to be in Vernal or you're going to be showing up at the Phenomicon at all, please come by the booth. I'll be hanging out again over at the Insiders booth with David and Mark and Ryan. Please come by. I'll be doing lives. I'll be going live quite a bit from over there. I'd love to see you guys and all that. So more than once, I got a big adrenaline rush when at night a cow came into view. But only the eyes and just the shadow of the body shape. It takes your brain a bit to figure out what you're saying. Yeah. Ooh, I can only imagine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine. Yeah, the Bigfoot recap. Thank you, Linda. We're probably going to do those on Thursday night. Those are going to probably be on a Thursday night. I think so. Pretty sure we did them. We were doing them on Thursday night before. Oh, do you think there's still open spots? Okay. And Bigfoot and beers with Ronnie. All right, sweet. So yeah, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So I can't wait to see them all again and get a chance to sit down and talk to Maria and Ronnie and all that. All right. Oh, sweet. You're going to be there? Awesome. And you had me at Bigfoot. And yeah, so yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. There will be tacos and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And so anyway, all right, let's get into this. So the guys, they start off the show on Tuesday night. Started off with which we watched the tail end of the super experiments that they were doing, where they were getting everything in the air at once. It was a grand finale, exercise that they were doing that night. Rockets and lasers and the super what's it called, the space laser
cannon.
Yeah. Just everything, throwing it all out there all at once with thermal cameras and everything going on. And at the end you saw where they launched a rocket, and this was the one that is goes Mach 1.5, which is about 800 miles an hour, and reaches an altitude of 10,000 feet. And they shot the rocket, and they don't know what happened to it. And then it said to be continued. And we're like, oh, wait, what? So
that's exactly what I sounded like, too. What? What?
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah, so off it goes, and everybody's looking for it. They've got night vision cameras. They're trying to see. They did not hear the chute deploy because it has another pop when it pops the cone off and the chute pops out. They didn't hear that at all. They could not find it. Don't know if they ever did find it. Hopefully we'll find out at some point if they ever did.
Yeah. Nothing showed up on the FLIR cams.
Nothing.
Yep.
Nothing.
Poof.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's almost like there's a wormhole that it just went into.
Yeah. And one of the things that's kind of what I was thinking, because if you remember, they were talking about, Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremiah Pate.
Jeremiah Pate and Lunasonde. And that was at 10,000 feet was about where they picked up the time anomaly.
Where they lost a quarter of a second.
And I think it's really interesting because, again, if it were just one instance where a rocket disappears and it was in that area, then that's a one-off. But when you have this continuous anomalous behavior happening in the exact same area at the same, just like not even just in this one event, but like over a period of time, like this is a like you have to take the whole story and be like, if we were literally just looking at that one rocket, you would be like, oh, that's odd. But the fact that it's been continuous stuff that's happened in that area, I mean, that's when you go, maybe it is a wormhole. At least that's what I do. Like, maybe it is.
I mean, like you said, you put all the factors over the course of the last 4 seasons together into the thought. And you're looking at, they were talking about a mile high above the ranch, and then you get about 2 miles high above the ranch. and what's going on. So, and and how fast do you have to go to enter a wormhole?
88 miles per hour.
88 miles per hour. But
Jim is saying that he doesn't know if they have the right, what was it, the flux capacitor?
You're right. Right. Yeah, the flux capacitor to make that. So, but again, you talk about that. Is it possible that it just simply went into some sort of a anomaly? Did it go into the anomaly? I don't know.
Right.
Hopefully we'll get some kind of an update. Here we are at the end of the season. They're going to have a little thing going on next week. On Tuesday night, there's going to be a little wrap up, and they're going to do the, talk about the experiments and everything. I'm assuming so. Yeah, I am too, Lurker.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they didn't have a GPS tracker on it.
I mean, is it possible that they did and it wasn't edited in?
Could it be?
Yeah.
Because it didn't, how would it further the, I have a feeling there's a lot of data that's probably important data, but there's just not time in the show to shove it all in there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or it's connected to something that they want to reveal later, so they don't give it to us just yet until they're ready.
Right.
Hinting. And, I wonder. I didn't even think about the GPS thing. That's a great question. And
but can they trust the GPS thing?
No, they can't. Right? It could be Bermuda Triangle. It could be a mile underground. Who knows? It could be in a different dimension, which I guess it wouldn't pop up at all at that point.
Yeah, it could just stop working entirely.
Right. Yeah, that's why I keep saying somebody over in Ireland, all this stuff showing up in their backyard, and these medicine balls and and rockets and stuff are showing up in their backyard. Mars. Yeah, and these orange bottles with streamers hanging out of them. Oh, Dateline Mars rover. That's awesome, Kat. Yeah, exactly right. Right.
It's so funny.
So what happened to this rocket? And I'm really, really curious. Maybe we'll get an update. I don't know. I really want to know what happened to that thing.
I like that comment from a lurker. Could be even within the mesa. I didn't think about it even ending up in the mesa. Right? Like, what if they're drilling and they pull out one of the rockets?
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Wow. I hadn't thought about that. Maybe it went
Neither had I.
Or into the past.
Or into the past.
Ooh.
Or the far distant future.
Bigelow's team, NIDS, just found it.
Right. What if
what's this rocket?
The gifting theory about UFOs and stuff, or how they're gifts. What if it's not even aliens? It's us in the future, and it's not a gift. It's just stuff winding up in the past from far up in the future. And we're like, oh, somebody gave this to us. It's nah, I just fell in a wormhole.
That's right.
Yeah. It does. The possibility.
Thank you, Kat. Right?
Boggle the mind, that's for sure. Because you just don't know. We don't really know what the heck happened to that thing. And like I said, hopefully we'll get some kind of detail on it. And they kind of start to, they discuss the night's events a little bit with Lock Precision, Sky Elements, and both groups admit that they have had some of the events that evening were very unusual. The team calls it a night, and Eric will spend several days reviewing the data. And then they're going to come up next. We're going to talk about the office. They all convene, and like they do at the end of every season, they convene in Brendan's office, and they talk about the latest information that's come out. And they kind of step back and look at some of the other things that still relate to the end of the season as well. So, but before we get to that point, we do have a giveaway, and this is the final giveaway for the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. And I'm going to show this picture. It is this tumbler. I always get confused on these things. They call it I want to call it a travel mug, and my brain was going travel mug, and I'm going, that's not right. It's a tumbler. It's a travel mug. This particular one glows in the dark. And Linda is going to do a spin for this, and I will give a brief description of how you go about getting something like this. We will be doing giveaways again next season. We do these for the Curse of Oak Island, and we also do these for the Skinwalker Ranch shows. Different things that we got. Now, this particular travel mug I did it. Tumblr was all the wording and everything. The graphics are done on it by Jess Grollo, who is blue6laser.com. She does all the graphical work on these, and yeah, she does a fantastic job.
It's great quality. I have one, and I'm not drinking out of it tonight, but just because I wasn't quick enough to get it. And it's fantastic. Okay. It is really, really wonderful. It's great quality.
Yeah, really nice. So, all right, so I'm going to pop this down, and Linda's going to spin for this. Now, how you get to do this, you have to be a member of our Facebook group page, which is the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. Linda will put up a post with the picture of that week's giveaway, and you would respond with a comment to that post and just say yes, and that will get you automatically entered into it. And again, we won't be doing any of these again till next season. So there you go for that. So let's go ahead and we'll put you in solo, and Linda's going to spin away for this thing, and we'll see who gets to win it.
I want one. I'm also going to mention that Jess sells these.
Yes.
And this design, she doesn't have any more green. She has glow in the dark teal and hot pink. If you don't want it to glow in the dark, you have your choice of about 20 different colors. So just go to her website and look and see what she's got, because she can put the Skinwalker tumbler thing on any other tumbler that you want. Okay, here we go. Make sure it's turned up, because I keep forgetting to do that.
All right. You can see the names flashing down. A lot of people really jumped in on this one.
Yep.
Craig Robbins. Craig was like one of the first.
Craig, he's the first guy. Yeah.
Craig Robbins, and he was here. I've seen his name pop up early on. So.
Yeah. So Craig, if you will send me a private message with your address, I'll get this out in the mail to you on Monday. Thanks, everybody.
Right. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Linda.
Craig Robbins. Make sure you tell us you're here, Craig. I know you were. I saw you early on.
Yeah, I feel like he always says hello.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah, get a hold of Linda, give her your details, and she will get that on the way to you. And congratulations. All right. That's an awesome travel mug. And like I said, Jess does those. If you want to help support the show, you can pick one out. There's a link down in the description below that will take you to where they have the ones with my logo on them. It does help support the show, and she will send them to you and all of that. But if you want to just go and do the blue6laser.com and don't put the /JFree906 on there, you can see all of the tumblers that she does and all the different.
I didn't know that. I'm going to have to go back and get another one now.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
You know, and there was somebody had posted I saw it. It had to do with Yoopers. I'm a Yooper from the UP of Michigan, and I saw one for Yoopers today, and I sent a message to Jess, and I said, oh, you got to try to do this one. So she can work with just about anything.
Very cool.
So, yeah. Yes. Back kitty alert. Black.
There she is.
Mm-hmm.
She needs a little J-free sweater, I feel like, at this point.
Yeah. Jim, I will hopefully have some at the Phenomicon. All right. I will have some hats there. I'm trying to get some shirts before. Yes, one of those hats right there.
It's cool.
And those are embroidered. They're not, they were.
Yeah, it's not.
Because I had their embroidery done on them. And on the shirts too. So, yeah. So
I want one of those too.
Yeah,
I dig it.
I'll have some at Phenomicon. I'm trying to get some more T-shirts made that are just like this, where they're silk screened rather than embroidered. So I'll do my best. But I'll have some at Phenomicon if anybody wants to pick one up there. So, all right. So let's jump into some more pictures. Ooh, love the pictures, right? All right. So it was a night shot. I love this one. You know, looking at the triangle. This is when everything was all set up to do their experiments that night. They got all the drones out there. They got the space laser cannons going. I don't know if the actual laser display was running at that particular moment or not, but it was pretty cool. Then they get over to the office, and of course we get to see The governor of Utah from 2009 to 2021, Gary Herbert, was there. I think it's really cool that we see members of the government showing up at these things and coming out and talking to Brandon. Without getting too deep into the government, the hearings, the UAP hearings, and all this kind of stuff that's going on in our world today, I think it's really cool to see these guys be so involved in it. You said you agree with that, Seth?
Yeah. And Governor Herbert, has he been on the recap every season or just the last two? I feel, or maybe 2 or 3, but yeah, I'm with you. And if it's cool because it's like, it lets like, okay, they're interested in these topics too.
Absolutely. Yep.
And if you were in these positions, wouldn't you do the same thing of like, hey, I was former governor of Utah. I have this relationship with Brandon. Brandon, let me in. Let's see what's going on. And maybe I know somebody. But yeah, I like seeing that because he gives the show standing. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it speaks to that sort of can-do attitude of like, hey, this is our state and we're going to figure out what's happening,
Yeah, I think every time I see, like when he showed up in this episode, I was thinking like, I wonder if, there's things that limit you while you're in office sometimes. And the fact that like he's able to express that perhaps he has, maybe he had information about stuff that he can't talk about, right? Or experiences. And so, yeah, I agree. It does add a lot of validity to the conversation, if that makes sense. But there's some pretty heavy hitters around that whole table. So
yeah, for sure. You remember last year they had George Knapp was at the table and everything too. I mean, he's not in government, but George is very important when it comes to UFO disclosure and UAP disclosure and all of that. So, and all the things. And again, that man went through complete heck when he first came out and started talking about it. And I was reading about that too. And because it was always a taboo subject, you did not talk about this for many, many years. You would be labeled, you would be fired, you'd lose your license, whatever license that may have been. Pilots, with airline pilots didn't want to talk about it and all of that simply because of what would happen to them. Pilots in the military, it got removed. I mean, that is just, and now we're finally got that point, and I'm glad I'm alive to see it happening, to see all this happening. So that's really cool. Anyway. We also have Jim he's the CEO from Omnitech. Omnitech, he mentioned while he was here, and this is one of the subjects we can talk about it a little bit now. I'm going to be kind of jumping around a little bit in tonight's synopsis rather than going in chronological order. I'm just be kind of jumping around a little bit with this because it was mostly the table discussions about stuff. But, Jim had talked about putting sensors permanently or, running 24/7 on the ranch. And and you saw Eric's face. I mean, Eric, must have known about this, but he was just like, I can really use the help, Yeah. And the seismic sensors. Every time a cow walks by.
This takes it from like, there's not even a good comparison, really. I feel like this is going to revolutionize data collection on the ranch. I think it's almost like going from a landline to a cell phone, to be honest with you. Like that's like a huge jump, even though it's technically maybe utilizing some of the same things. But like it is an enormous jump in
it's like 2D video games to 3D video games.
That's like, right. Or like a VR headset.
Or VR headset. Exactly. Yeah, because they're going to have full like sky and ground with the seismic. They're going to be able to see if there's any correlations. Like, hey, we saw orbs flying in formation, and then also picked up seismic stuff at the mesa where we know that big tower and metallic tunnels are, and it's so exciting to see what they're going to be able to do. And like Jeff said, you could see it on Eric's face.
And
it's like on Christmas morning.
Oh yeah.
Jim Royston was the interim director of the International Space Station lab.
I caught that.
Oh yeah, when you go to Omnitech's website, they have I think one of the first times I met these guys was a Dragon or somebody that was like, these are impressive resumes here. All these guys involved in Omnitech have really cool careers and backgrounds. And again, like with the governor, like so cool and interesting that these really successful, brilliant people are turning their attention and taking seriously Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, I mean, again, I go back to the fact that like these people have like gone all the way up their careers, and now they're at a point where like this, if it were me and I had gone all the way up my career, I would be looking for the next challenge, and this is certainly would be. This would be an exciting endeavor, a challenge to try to like figure out, and an opportunity to be at the like be part of something tremendous. So,
and you think about the things that they've all heard and learned over the course of their careers, like you just said, going up that career path, what they did prior, and now they can actually act on or look into or investigate the things that they knew and saw before, but probably really weren't allowed to look into, or whatever. Now they have a little bit more freedom, which I think this guy here and the governor, the former governor, come by too. I mean, now they have that opportunity. See what happened to, was it the governor, Phoenix,
Arizona?
Remember the Phoenix Lights,
Yeah,
Arizona?
Lights. Mm-hmm.
And when all that went down and he was told he had to do something, so he had that news conference after he witnessed it himself. Then he had to have that news conference and have this guy come out in an alien suit and all this and make laugh it off and everything. And then in interviews later, after he was no longer in public office, he was able to say, yeah, it really did happen. So they get that freedom at that point. And that people like that are going to be able to now research it and get into it. And what better, I mean, it's like Jim here, now look where he's at and what he's going to be doing, involved with Skinwalker Ranch and taking this to a whole new level, not only for him, but also taking the ranch and the investigation and the experiments they're doing to a whole new level. That's it. I can't wait. I cannot wait for season.
I can't either. Well, I just am so excited for them for Eric, for everybody to have this tremendous way to like digitally map the ranch. Like that's so just awesome.
I mean, and you think about being an insider at this point, once they're done filming, again, and I said this last year, and when we were at Phenomicon and we were talking and being an insider last summer, and I kept thinking, and I think I said a couple of times, just wait until the filming is done and the guys aren't so darn busy. I mean, we know that last night, and it's funny because a lot of people logged off last night at 9:00 off the podcast, and I should have mentioned it prior to 9:00 that they rescheduled the Ranch Revelations till next week, I guess, right?
We don't have a date for it yet, but that's when it's supposed to be. It's for next week sometime.
And I kept saying, what's going to happen when they're done filming? What kind of things are we going to get involved in? And they're going to be able to talk about and all that. And as an insider, my goodness, did we not get a lot of right after Phenomicon, right after they were done filming, it was just like it took off. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait for that again this year. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. That way cool stuff is going on at Skinwalker Ranch. If they had to postpone the insider program because they're all too busy. Yeah.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Sometimes it's just one of them that like drags themselves in and you're just like, oh man.
And the others trickle in halfway through.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm here.
For sure.
Yeah. What I did like, Dragon said what I was thinking, because there was a voice or something on my shoulder going, that's really exciting about everything that Omnitech's going to bring to the table. But everything, we all know it's not going to be like just this smooth transition. I'm sure they're going to experience hiccups. And Dragon said, like, I'm curious to see what the ranch lets you gather, because we know when it doesn't want something gathered, it doesn't let it. And they said, yeah, we've kind of already experienced a little bit of that, and they didn't go any further into it.
you know what would be really cool is if they do have this digital map of the ranch, if parts of it black out in certain areas of it. Like you're not getting data from these places, but the void in the data is the data itself. Because I feel like, I feel like using something this advanced, anytime there's a hiccup in it, if it's, unusual, that is really good information to have as well. So I wouldn't even count that as being an issue necessarily. It's just a different form of data collection.
Yep.
Yeah,
and I read in Reddit, somebody put out in Reddit and was asking the question, are we looking at a year-old information? I said, yes, we are. That's exactly right. Because they're we assume they're filming right now for season 5. What we just saw was last summer's experiments that they were doing from last summer. So that was season 4, last summer. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. I mean, we just can't, we don't get to see it, right off the bat. Even as an insider, they got to be very careful what they talk about, because they do have to hold back to some degree. But then we also get a lot of stuff that, we do hear a lot of interesting things. But that's just a cool shot. I mean, look at Brandon's office, his conference room. Isn't that sweet? Man, that's really.
It would have been hilarious if something had flown past.
I know, right?
It's like perfect. It's like one of those like sneaky UFOs that's just popping out from the side.
Yeah,
it had the perfect.
To say hi.
Yeah, it had the perfect background for it.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Mr. Jay Stratton. And Jay, again, a man with a huge background involved in all this stuff. And now he, former director of UAP Task Force, and the accolades go on with this gentleman here, and also working with Robert Bigelow, and other information that they share about his background. And he was, I remember when, I think it was a Dragon, or no, somebody had asked him a question.
Yeah, I think it was Cameron. You're awfully quiet over there, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you were saying?
So, I was told though that Jay did speak for like an hour, almost like an hour and a half, and they just edited it all down. Right. So it's he is deceptively quiet, I think, in this episode. It sounds like he did have a lot to say. They just didn't use some of it. Maybe they'll use it later. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's what a little birdie named Michelle told me.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. They edited him down a lot.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, really did. So maybe we'll get to see more of that or hear more about it later on.
Possibly.
But again, now he's involved in this again. He was there with the Bigelow team, and tweet. Yeah.
Well, it makes me think, kind of like I was saying earlier, tweet. It makes me think, like, what did he say that maybe the History Channel or editing people thought, like, that hints a little too much at what, like maybe he was too on the point. What he was saying was so profound. They were like, we can't give it all away.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they're going to share something next week with us. I don't know. We'll find out. But can't wait. And again, Jay is now in that position where he gets to be involved in a more direct investigation, a future. He was there with Bigelow. Now he gets to be back there with Eric and Travis and the team and Omnitech and
I think it was my first Q&A Chips and Salsa that I got to watch when I became an insider. Mm-hmm. It was when Brandon introduced Jay as coming on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was my first one.
Wow.
So my first time seeing Jay was before the show, but on that, and I was like, Jay Stratton, who's that? And then quickly, after the Q&A, Google
and
search,
he was,
Jay Stratton, wow, cool.
He was name dropped in the congressional hearing too, because Dave Fravor was like, and then Jay Stratton had me blah blah blah. That's exactly what he said, just like that. Blah 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 blah.
Sworn testimony to Congress.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a shot of Jay out on the ranch with Robert Bigelow doing some stuff, and he's got a pack full of something going on right there. But so just it's really cool. I'm so glad. I mean, they're bringing heavy hitters out here for this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this season 5, this season 5 is going to be, I mean, season 4 blew away 1, 2, and 3. I got a feeling season 5 is just going to be a standalone season that is going to be like crazy with all that's going on and all the heavy hitters out there. I can't see how it will not completely blow away the entire lid off of this show.
I am curious too, because if Omnitech is setting up this system, it's obviously going to be running 24/7 year round. It's not just going to be running during filming. So will there be preliminary testing done that they know might cause an effect that they can repeat when it comes time to film? Because I often think about that. Like, I know that they're constantly doing stuff on the ranch, but from a television standpoint, they probably saved the like potentially really juicy material for when the cameras are there.
So confident we'll get a reaction, right?
Right.
Yeah, I use that a lot. Like, we're trying to provoke a reaction, because I imagine there's times where they do stuff and nothing happens, and
right,
like that's data too, because what causes reaction, what doesn't. But yeah, I agree with you, Shannon. I like I think they saved the juicy stuff for us to see on the History Channel.
Yeah, I agree.
What Pete said there. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it does make me think, like, I know all the time, I hear this all the time, but it's just like, why don't they do this? And why don't they hurry up this? And this is going to take forever. And like, from a television show standpoint, you don't want everything to happen at one time. You want the show to continue. So it's sort of like you're slowly doing it, which I think I answer that as being like, the television show is important because it's exposure to the topic at large. It's exposure to a wider public, this information that otherwise maybe they wouldn't be exposed to. So even though it is obviously for entertainment, I think there is importance in terms of like popular culture and media consumption to get this sort of information in the news a bit, like some of this last episode was in the mainstream news. I saw it for the very first time show up on mainstream news things, which I've never seen before. And so I think with that in mind, like, you kind of want it to continue on, not just because we love it, but because the longer it's putting stuff out there.
Yeah, what Pete said about the last show of next year, the rocket comes back. All of a sudden it comes out of nowhere, boom, and they find it on the sensors will pick it up.
There you go.
Sensors will pick it up. Oh, we got an anomaly. So yeah.
Can you imagine if they get the sensors going and they just see it floating in the air but cloaked somewhere? Like, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's just floating.
It's like suspended in midair.
Oh yeah, man. I'm so jealous. That would be the coolest thing to go through that data. Oh my gosh.
It would. Painstaking, but so cool. It would be, so much data. You heard them talk about a terabyte of data. They have a terabyte of data to go through. I can't imagine that. And how many love to help them with that? Anyway. Yeah, exactly. So, really cool, like I was talking about, having the heavy hitters out there. One of the things that Eric shared with us when he was showing, he had his laptop there and he was going through some of the data that was taken from the big super experiment that they did. Everything up in the air all at once. And these were this is a look at the data of the GPS that were put on some of, now all the drones from Sky Elements operate off GPS. But Eric had, and if they showed a quick shot of this during the episode last week, that Eric had actually put some of his GPS trackers on some of them, not all of them, but on some of them. And he wanted to look at the data afterwards. And this is that data from the ones he put on there. And again, you can see that how they went up, and some of them, you're seeing these different levels, because you remember when they put them up there and then they did the cube and the cube began to turn, they had them coming, rotating around. That's probably why you're seeing some of this. And the up and down, this stuff here is when they were lifting up and going through. So that's what you're seeing, those data points. Okay. And remember that the GPS also works on time. And GPS works on, it works on time. It's very important. So you see this here, and then down here at the bottom, E12 when Omnitech CEO Royston joked he was never leaving. It wasn't a joke. They've been out there since working on things all
winter. Wow.
Oh boy. I can't wait. I can't wait to see that. But you see this one down here at the bottom, right? That is underground. And yet again.
And that seems relevant to what we're going to see with the Lunasonde stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of the placement of where it's underground.
Yes. Also, I think it's interesting, and this will play into the Lunasonde thing, but there was an episode that was last season. It was the one that was where there's smoke, there's something.
Sorry. Yeah.
When they were shown an entrance on that mesa that was a cave that is in the same area. So I won't.
Wasn't that Chris Bartell that took him out there and showed him?
Yes.
He was like, here's where I think it was. It looked like it had collapsed, which of course makes sense.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but because of that, I was doing some research on the area and like just in general tunnels. But I'll hold that thought until we get to that, so I don't get ahead of ourselves. But it was right in that area.
Yeah. How many times have we seen that where the data is showing something under, the GPS tracker going underground? It just gets whacked out, and it has to do. I think it has to do with that time dilation. Personally, I think it's that time dilation, that difference in time that's causing it. They also remember when Eric Bard was in that Cessna airplane, and they were flying around the ranch and doing that pattern, and then it showed the Cessna was 63 miles underground. I don't know, some weird amount of, and the helicopter, Cameron's helicopter, same thing. It showed it underground.
And Pete Kelsey's LiDAR data.
Pete Kelsey's LiDAR data. And so here's just another shot of that. I was just amazed by this. And like I said, it was tracker on some of them, not all of them. And then you have Jay. When Jay was out there, when Jay Stratton was out there, and they did the tour in the Jeep. And then the LiDAR data came back and it gave us this. Not the LiDAR, sorry. The GPS data came back and gave us this. That as if the Jeep had gone underground in a tunnel for a while and it made its way back to the surface again. And, and people can go, oh, well, they're faulty GPS units that were created by Eric. No. I don't think... I trust Eric is not going to make faulty GPS tracking units. But anyway,
all the things, all the excuses, that is, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
making a faulty. That feels like it would be.
Look how many points that had to go in to make that J.
Oh yeah,
that was with intention.
It was, and because you see these points that you look at all of them, and then here is a solid J. Why? I don't know. Is it a coincidence? No.
What if giving AI to the ranch is exactly what it wants?
Yeah, you're right. What if it is? Maybe that's what it's been asking for this whole time. And it's like, perfect. Now my brain is turned on. Watch the magic that I do.
Are we ready for that? Are we ready for something like that?
Yes.
I mean, AI scares the crap out of me as it is.
We're
ready.
The fact that you're saying we're ready like this is proof that we are not ready. Seth is ready.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I don't know. Yeah. And we talk about that AI because that's exactly what's kind of being used when they got the UFO DAP and the Sky 360 units that are up there. They have the, and I mentioned this last night. They have the fisheye camera that's looking at the entire sky, and it's going through, it's watching anything that moves, and it's taking all that information and putting it into the computer, and then the computer is using AI to decide, what do I need to look at? Oh, that's an airplane, that's a bird, that's a bug, whatever. Oh, wait a minute, this doesn't fit into any of my known flying objects, so let's track this one. And that's kind of what they're using. So yeah, if we well, they already have apparently, and we don't know yet, but what the results are yet. But yeah, give AI to the ranch. What's going to happen?
The ranch finally gets what it wants.
It gets what it wants.
You're like, I've just been waiting on this one thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Mesa turns into that face from Aladdin, where you know what I'm talking about? Do you know the reference I made?
Yeah.
Yeah. So another cool thing that Eric was showing was this right here, and he took the thermal data, and he applied this. And I don't know, did he give this a name? What he called when he does this graphic here? It gives us this.
From what I know, I mean, I've done stuff like this before. It's just sort of like a filtering system that programs have built into them. So he's adjusting different levels. Yeah, he's adjusting different levels of things to create that. He's used embossing, yes, and then other ones too. I think it's pretty standard across like video editing stuff that you can put filters on like that.
So what he was looking at here, he was taking, remember during the experiments last week, when they had the UAP that showed up in the thermal images, and they had a couple that showed up. One of them that actually split up into different pieces. All kinds of out of place artifacts have been discovered in Utah, so I wouldn't be surprised if that tunnel is really, we're going to get to that in a minute, Jim.
Yeah, I've got so many thoughts on the tunnels.
And then you see it here, and it breaks up into multiple.
This is the stuff that I saw in the news on like MSN and the Sun.
Good.
And it was this. It was described as a fleet is seen over Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
Well, with the Tic Tac and those videos that did get shown to us a couple years ago, you hear the pilots saying like, "Look, there's a fleet," and I remember thinking like, "Okay, show me." So this is the first time I've actually gotten to. Yeah, this is the first time I've gotten to see what our pilots, or some of our pilots must be experiencing when they say like, "There's a fleet of them."
When this showed up, I think that's the first time my jaw has fully dropped this season.
Yeah, this was cool, and I do have. Of course, I couldn't help myself, folks. I had to go and get a video clip of all this stuff. So I did get a video clip put together, and it includes these clips here with the UAP splitting up. And I mean, when you see this, and I'll play it a couple of times now, I'm going to apologize up front because I have to be very careful so I don't get copyright infringement. I'm allowed to show about 9 seconds. So you'll see me take the same video clip that's, 24 seconds long and cut it up into pieces. I had to do that. I'm sorry. But here, I'm going to play this because I think it really, okay, why is it not loading? Don't Skinwalker me here. Okay, there we go. All right, so I did break it up into little bits and pieces, but I'm going to play this, and it shows what Eric showed, but it goes a little bit. I wanted to have it for myself, so here we go. I'm going to play this, and you get to see this break up in. Watch this thing. Okay, so it's going along here, and again, I have to break these up into little 9-second clips, so bear with me on that. But it's moving along there. And at the tail end of it is what I think is one of the really interesting things. Okay. And you see how it's going up. It's actually going up at the same time that it's moving. And
you can see it start to change shape there.
Yeah.
How the shadow is on it.
Yep. And then this last one here, look at that. Now you see how it turned. Now it's like going straight up. They are. and then that one, and then just off there at the end. I'm going to go back to that one and I'm going to pause that for a second.
Every time I see that little bit right there, I'm just.
This is absolutely crazy, folks.
It really is.
It truly is. And it's not, and Eric was describing, and you saw him, he was doing like the flapping. He was talking about this during this meeting.
You're right. Yeah.
Eric has looked at a ton of this type of video evidence that he has, and he knows what he's looking at. And just like we have gotten better, not as good as he is, I don't think, but we have, as insiders, have gotten better at looking at data. He has gotten much better at looking at data. And there's no way this is a birds or bugs or anything like that. And it was at night. And I wanted to stop right there. You see this one here. This one here in the bottom is making, and it kind of pulls off in the pack. And there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them here in this picture, at least 5. And then at the very end, you see that one in the bottom right there, take off.
Oh yeah, separate.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's at least 5 of them there. This is crazy. This is absolutely awesome. And you heard Brandon say that, this is, great evidence. This is like the best video evidence of UAP activity, not only just for the ranch, but of all time that we have.
I agree with that. And we also know that there's more of that we've seen, right? Like within our group. And actually when I asked about what we saw back in June, I was told just wait, because of, I guess I didn't know, but what was coming. And it's really funny. I think at this point, if people see that and they're still like, this is like choose your flavor of skepticism for a response. There isn't going to be there's going to be nothing save literally a spaceship landing on somebody's front porch and like abducting them, I think, for there to be changing somebody's mind about it. Like if somebody can look at that video and say, oh, there's another explanation for it.
Yep, exactly. Mr. Reese there. Yeah, no heat signatures. I mean, these are thermal images. Then they are hotter than the surrounding area. But you're right. There's no heat signature as if in propulsion, showing propulsion.
And I have a feeling, I don't know this for a fact, but I imagine that something like that was shown to Omnitech for them to be like, oh my gosh, we're setting up shop. Like, we're for real.
Exactly.
Let us 3D map these things.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Omnitech had been there and had it mapped when that happened?
Oh.
How different would that have been?
Yeah.
My gosh, like that is an enormous game changer. If we're talking about, we've got this place that has all of this stuff happening, and like, imagine if that had been mapped through a system like Omnitech is bringing.
And what have they now that we haven't seen yet? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I do have more. I'm going to play this. You see that, not even halfway through this, but this shot right here, I mean, that just blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. So I'm going to hit play here, and we're going to continue on. And I think I've got a little bit of the next one. That's the raw data there that they had showing the same thing. And that's the same image right there going on. Okay. And then there was one that we didn't even know about. They didn't show us. And Eric showed after the fact. And I think that's the next one here. Eric showed this at the meeting right there. This one here. And again, it's formation. And there's more of that. Hold on. It's formation flying. We didn't see this one during the show.
I see 6 there.
Yeah, this one is not. I'm going to back it up just for a second here, see if we can see. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's way more than 6.
I'm going to call these the mighty duck orbs, because they do the flying V.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, go ahead, please.
Oh, no, please go ahead, Jim.
I was
No,
going
I
to say that they're look at that. I mean, they're flying in formation.
almost like a T for Travis. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. There.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. It is triangle shaped and everything. But and here's the thing too that I was trying to rationalize this in my brain a little bit. What the what the quack? Is that we don't know if they're to me when I saw the first set in the embossed look, it looked like they were going into space. It looked like they were going straight up. Now again, we don't know the orientation of it.
Yeah.
We don't know if they were like coming
one popped
overhead.
down.
Yeah, were they going overhead? Were they going further away? It looked to me like they were heading off in an angle, going upward, and then they turned and went straight up into like they were going into space and getting ready to leave orbit of the Earth's orbit. That's what it looked like to me. But unfortunately, we don't have enough information on it, or do we? Go ahead.
I really want to know what dates these were filmed so we can go back and look at the spreadsheet.
I know.
Desperately, because if they separate out and they're just doing their own thing too, it's very possible.
Yep.
That we may have seen something that we.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's.
How many times have we seen data, imagery from the ISS, and they're showing things coming up out of the Earth's atmosphere and shooting out into space, or it moves along the cloud and then off into space, and it looks like I'm wondering where is ISS in relation to these, and did the ISS see them leaving Earth's atmosphere and then going out into space? Maybe there is a really only one orb passing through. Oh my gosh! Don't do that, Dave. Don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way that they can shift together, like I think the other view where they were saying like, oh, look, now with this view, you can see there's several of them. I don't think it was the view change. I think they went from one to several.
Did you miss that message there, Shannon? You were looking down when Michelle.
I responded in the chat. I saw it.
Okay. All right.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, I mean, and there they go, and they're speeding up. Now,
remember, we did look at what birds look like on FLIR recently, didn't we?
Yes,
we pulled that up.
Yes, we
very,
did.
very different looking.
Not even close.
Very, very different.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close. I mean, this is crazy stuff right here. Now,
it really is.
Yeah, it truly is. And I think, and I go back to what Brandon said, I think this is the best UAP footage that we have seen in public, period.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere, on any platform. I mean, we saw the Tic Tac, we saw the different ones that the Navy captured. These blow them away.
Yeah, I know. And I know I reference June a lot, but I think that's one of the best videos I've ever seen, ever.
Oh, yeah. 626?
Yeah, and it was so frustrating. I don't know if I think I can say this, but I don't know what happened or how someone, obviously they shouldn't have, but right now somebody has taken like 40 seconds of that video and has put it on Twitter, and they shouldn't have. It's copyright infringement. It came from behind the paywall. It should not be out there. And it's been really frustrating for me because it's been viewed like 50,000 times, and everybody in these comments is saying things, because whoever took it put like music over it and and they're like tearing it apart. I'm like, man, if you only knew, like, this is so frustrating, because it's like this clip doesn't do justice to what actually happened. And I've tried to get in there. I'm like, you should join Insiders so that you can see the full see the full clip. But I'm like, I made the original recording from the live cameras and I watched it happen in real time. So for me to be now in that kind of position, as a lot of people were who watched it in real time, to see people going after it like it's something else is like the first time I've ever experienced that, in terms of like people really just don't want to believe that this stuff happens.
No, they don't. They truly don't. They truly don't.
And I try to be as kind as possible, like to everybody, but it's just like you can't. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, it truly is a waste of time because, like you said earlier, unless the ship and the little green people show up on their porch and abduct them, they're not going to believe it. Even then, they probably wouldn't believe it. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I'm just saying to people, like, this isn't the full clip. Like, of course, music wasn't put over it, because that was one of the things, like, oh, music got put over this, and clearly this is made up.
Serious speculations. If a single orb entered into an unstable zone above the mesa, we might be looking at it disperse into different time. Almost like
a reflective mirror, but like one of those funhouse mirrors.
Yeah. Or where the elevators have the mirrors on all sides.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
Wow. That is interesting.
David, this is too serious for right now.
Keep it coming, David.
You can't break my brain before the podcast is over.
David, when we get close to the end, I'm going to send you a link and you jump in here with us and explain yourself.
There we go. Yeah. Come on, David.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. If you can't.
No. I mean, we're working on it.
Yeah.
But if you see it out there, I mean, I've just been very kind and I've been directing people. If they would like to see the full thing, then they should join. If they're interested in actually seeing this stuff happen. I think not enough people really know about the group and like how wonderful it is.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, true. ATT, I don't know how to pronounce that, but he and I.
Adovishnu.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Adovishnu. Okay. We've talked before a little bit offline and talking about reverberations. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So I got another clip, and this is one that we've seen this one before, and I had to pull it up and show it because, again, this is another one of those that I think is one of the best ones for sure because of what it's showing. And this is the clip of from the helicopter with the GoPro camera showing that UAP light right there. And then it goes zip and it's gone. It looked like it was going into the mesa. And then it appears and there you see it disappear. And now it's going to reappear down there. And I still, it's going to show it one more time reappearing on the bottom here. I still go by, it doesn't look to me like it's moving. I think it's actually appearing in the anomalous zone, above the at the mesa or above the triangle right there. I think that's where it's appearing. I think because if you, and again, like I said, I don't have their tech. All I got is this computer right here to play around with to try to analyze this. But when you look at the ground and the helicopter is moving at what, 40 knots? Did he say he was cruising around at 40 knots?
Mm-hmm.
You see him moving. He's moving at 40 knots towards the UAP. And remember how he was talking about how they were flashing by him, and then he thought, oh, maybe they're still, and I'm moving by them.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think this thing is just appeared right there in that anomalous zone, and the helo is flying towards it. Because if you look at the stuff on the ground, and I'm going to back this up just a smidge, if you look at the stuff on the ground, it doesn't look like the stuff that the UAP, the light, is moving past the stuff on the ground.
I agree with you.
And then it disappears at the end, and it fades away at the very end. So, I mean, I don't know. I love that one. I love that footage. And so they have knocked it out of the park this year. Absolutely knocked it out of the park with the data and the things that they've captured this year.
They really have.
Yeah. Yeah. Jacob's ladder. Good one there.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've got all of that. And then when they were talking about this right here, and this was when the LiDAR the drone was up with the LiDAR that was scanning at 400,000 scans per second. During the scan, a
Crazy.
rocket was launched, and that passed through and displaced something that the team could not see. And they're talking about that void on the ground right there. We hadn't seen this right here. We saw that where it looked like, and they were showing, like, it was almost like the photogrammetry of the anomaly, that tall tower anomaly that was sticking up. It was, we saw something like that. The rocket, when it rocket went through there, and the LiDAR picked it up. But then the next one that they shot up, that the drone got with the LiDAR, there was nothing there. They didn't get anything. Is that this one? I don't know.
Am I right in remembering that they said that this was almost like a reflection, like mirrors?
Yeah.
Right?
I feel that way too. That something was.
I think that's what they said. That it was almost like a reflection of. They compared it, I think, to mirrors.
It does look like Old Faithful.
Yeah, it's reflecting it back, and also bending the light at the same time.
Which is really interesting because, cloaking stuff that we have developed essentially works that way. It's a specialized, like the way that the mirror is essentially bent, because we do have cloaking things already. Like there's YouTube videos to teach you how to make them, basically. Like it's not like a difficult technology. You can literally make it at home, and it's really fascinating to watch because it's essentially like a specific type of material that's exactly. That's sort of also where I was getting at too. It's like it could have done it with the David bringing up the orb thing, but also if it's doing that, is that not also aiding in cloaking itself in a way? I mean, we know that to be something that exists. That's not like a fancy science.
Again, reverberation. Yep. And Vishnu. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Gravity bends light too. Yep. I don't know. Again, this is one of those things where but again, you take all this data, and this is something that I don't have the capability of doing, but Eric and Travis and them do, and Omnitech take this data and start all these different things, all this stuff, and put it together and be able to start to paint that picture. Get that, you put all these little pieces of that puzzle together, and then you look at what you've accomplished when you're all done, and you may have an answer to it. And I think that's where they're striving. They're striving for that, but they're also getting more. There's so much different data. I don't know. And I was wondering, is it possible that this right here, this mass of all these different, it's the same rocket, just showing multiple times, like a mirror, funhouse mirror, or, reverberation or whatever. Could this have been what caused the shadow, or the ground shadow, the black? Is it blocking it? I don't know. I can't put that together in that way, I suppose, because we just don't know how much of the LiDAR showed this void area on the ground.
That's a good thought. I had the same thing of like, are we seeing, because when we first saw the black shadow on the ground, Travis said, it looks like a shadow of something. So is this what was casting that shadow? That's
what I was wondering. That's the point I was trying to make.
I mean, it does kind of make the same, like how it curves at the top. That does match what's on the ground.
I know. So I was really starting to wonder, is this what caused that shadow? Was it blocking it? And then again, why would it even do this in the first place? Gravitational lensing? I don't know. I don't have the brain power to figure that out, I suppose, but I just or the data. But what was that? William Massa, is the way they cloak hollow Earth? Is it hollow? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wondering if velocity factors into some way of the objects, like the water bottles and the rockets disappear, and the medicine ball, disappearing. If it hits it just right, like David asked, if it hits it just right, does that trigger the wormhole? And then things automatically start to disappear into that wormhole. I don't know. Did that rocket going at 1.5, Mach 1.5, and traveling that high, did that somehow trigger the wormhole and the rocket went into it? We just
Well,
don't know,
that
but-
rocket broke the sound barrier. Is that what it said?
Yeah,
There was a
yeah,
sonic boom.
yeah,
So
it
is
broke
it
the sound barrier.
possible that the
No, there wasn't a sonic boom. They never heard it. They should have, though, right?
Oh wait, they didn't hear it, or
They did not hear a sonic boom.
but it
Yeah.
broke the sound barrier.
Yes,
No, well, I mean, yeah, it was supposed to.
it was supposed to have. But did it travel into the wormhole before it broke the sound barrier?
It reached 88 miles per hour. That's the velocity, and then boom in the wormhole before we could hear the sonic boom.
I just wonder, like, what if it did work off of some sort of trigger, like what specifically could have been, like what makes that different than other things?
I don't know. Yeah, about 120 miles an hour. You're right. Yeah, Jim. I think in that terminal velocity. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. No boom. No boom. So why wasn't there a boom? Shouldn't they have heard a boom? I don't know. Does a rocket not make the boom? You would think so. A plane that can make the boom. Where's the kaboom?
Say boom one more time.
Well, I'm seeing everybody's popping up saying kaboom, boom. Yeah, see? Was there supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom? I don't know, man. Did it go into because it went into the wormhole? That's why we didn't hear it. That's when Eric started talking about traversable wormhole.
Yeah, imagine if they're all under maybe the wormhole doesn't go anywhere but underground into those tunnels.
Into those tunnels. That's where
everything's just there.
Yeah,
just
that's where we're
there.
going in just a moment. You know, remember back, was it season 3 when Eric, or season 2? I think it was season 2 when Eric was talking about the holding of space, and then now you make that, you know, and he was showing that on the screen, and everybody was kind of like, yeah.
That's straight out of Stranger Things too. I think that's exactly how their science teacher explained it to them. It's a great it's a simple way of explaining it, because it is really quite simple, the analogy.
The boom.
So then that means the rocket's around there somewhere, right, David?
Right.
So that means the rocket came back, or did it? You know, I don't know. I mean, we could sit here and speculate about this all. The upside down. It's the upside down. That's where.
Well, it's been called that, actually. That's what we've talked about before. It's been compared to
upside down.
Well, the upside down from Stranger Things. That people say that it's the real life Stranger Things. I hope not, but
just keep running up that hill.
Boom, boom. I wish I had the little drum. There you go. I got that. Okay.
Yes. And then we have the anomaly. They showed that from last year, you know, or earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Well, it was last year, but earlier in the season.
The blob.
Yeah.
I see a face here. Sorry. I just never saw the eyes.
I know. I'm thinking that's one of those Kachina dolls, you know.
Oh, I see a mouth and eyes and nose now. I never saw that before.
Yeah, right there's the eyes.
Yeah,
there's the nose.
I never saw that.
And the mouth is a straight line across the bottom. Do you see that? I see it. And this is
never saw it before,
ear.
but
These
now
aren't ears. These are actually the decoration of the.
Oh, is it like a helmet? Or
does that not look like a face? That's why I saved that picture, because it looks like a face to me.
Yeah,
it is it that James. That the Colonel was talking about. It doesn't want you to. It is right there.
You laugh until it gets hooked up to the AI.
Yeah, wait till this thing gets hooked up to the AI, and then watch it. You'll see that mouth start moving.
It's like, perfect, and then it just starts to.
Crazy stuff starts happening.
Oh, I like.
And the entire ranch disappears.
Yeah, really.
That's a face, dude. I'm sorry, but there's a face right there.
I don't see it, but I believe you guys.
Right here's an eye. Right here's an eye. This is the nose. You see the nose right there, and that's a straight line for the mouth.
Oh, okay.
And he's got a little hat on, or it's a tuft of hair sticking up. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Anyway, it's like a Petroglyph with a helmet. Yeah, kind of. It is. It is that one. It's the petroglyph, a petroglyph from isn't that down the Incas or the Aztecs? The guy with the helmet. I gotta go.
The Mayans. I think it's Mayan.
Mayan. I gotta go. I'm gonna have to go find that picture now, and I'm gonna put the. I don't see a face either. B. Jones, come on, it's right there.
I mean, I see it now that you've pointed it out.
You got the eyes right here, and there's the nose. It's wider at the bottom. The nose kind of right here, and then a straight line right here at the mouth. There's the chin, right there. The neck. I don't know. Anyway, moving along. I know I could sit there and mess with this all day. Now comes the really, really cool part. If all that did not tell you what the really cool part was, this really does. And here we go. Jeremiah Pate. And this guy right here brings to the table with his tech that they put up on the balloon, all those gadgets going up in the air. And he came up with this.
Mm-hmm.
And what did he say this was?
He said it was.
Talk about.
Go ahead.
Wait, getting to the bottom line of it? He said
metallic tunnel.
A metallic tunnel. Now, I will say this:
metallic tunnel,
60
feet wide,
tens
of feet tall.
I will say this.
Go ahead.
So for as long as I can remember, when I've got two different thoughts that are completely conflicting, but.
All right, go
as long as I can remember looking at the mesa, to me, the mesa has forever looked to me like ruins of some kind, like the way that it's bricked up. Especially when you look at like an aerial shot of it, it certainly is reminiscent of like when you see ruins that have been uncovered. And so it's a possibility that maybe there's a tunnel from people that lived in it thousands of years ago. Because I think something that at least I forget about is the fact that there's so much metal in this area. There's, like the composition, like they've even pulled some metal materials out of the ground there.
It's a metamaterial world.
Well, it could be showing that it's a metal tunnel, but it's possible if it's just tunneled out that it's the metals that are exposed in the actual natural geographic Earth. That's one thought.
Yeah.
It was also, I was looking at the fact that in Utah specifically, in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, there was a lot of tunnels that were dug in the Uinta Basin. You're muted, Seth.
Were those like just regular mining operations?
Some of them were for laying trains. Some of them got like train tracks. Some of them were closed. Some of them were purposely closed because, gilsonite, which is in the area, is really explosive if it's exposed to anything flammable. So is it possible that forever ago there was a tunnel that was used for mining down there and then it was purposefully closed? But if we go on the other side of it, regardless of whether or not it was there before, really doesn't change the fact that we don't know what it was used for during Bigelow's era.
Correct.
Is it possible that they knew that there was a tunnel under there and they did something? Or is it possible that something's been used under there for longer? Like, what do you guys think the tunnels are like? I find it to be interesting just because it's like finding out you have an extra room in your house you didn't know about.
Yeah.
Like, wait a second, what's in there?
Yeah.
But like, they aren't specifically necessarily like anomalous. It's just interesting because that would makes sense that there's a tunnel under there. Like when you think about like the disappearing smoke or like some of the water drainage or any of that.
Where did the water go? The colored water that they poured in there. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like that's not surprising. It's just more of like, is the metal something that was put in there as a man-made thing, or is it literally just metallic exposure from the natural earth if they tunneled through there? Or the rumors about people having a lab, is that possible?
Yes.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's possible.
I believe that and I might have said this on the show before, but I'm one of the people that believe that there's deep underground military bases and labs and
That's what I
tunnels
was going to say.
crisscrossing our whole country.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think that these are those, though. I think these are older. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these are more modern.
Well, that's what makes me wonder if it was something that was from like the 1800s, early 1900s, that was something that was used for like mining, or if it predates that even further. Like, does this go all the way back to if that is a potential of those being maybe ruins or something like that? Have those been around for thousands of years versus?
Yeah, like a lurker said in here, and like you've said earlier, when you take all the things into consideration on top of this data, the fact that they can't penetrate it with a drill, they can't, they're pulling metamaterials out, and then there's this lore of don't dig. It all points to not natural.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's funny to me is that I always thought that don't dig was because of essentially the native history, is how I always interpreted that. Is it being more of like, clearly this is native land and you shouldn't be digging up native land? That's how I had always interpreted it. Not so much as anything else. It's like, this is sacred native land. You shouldn't be digging sacred native land because there's, whatever type of ceremony.
Like known burial grounds or something?
Yes.
And this is something that like our culture would write into a deed to. I would be surprised if that was the case. We don't have a great history of being respectful of things like that.
I don't know. It's very hard for me to be able to even imagine if somebody, I think if it's the Shermans that are saying that, is it possible that there was conversations with their friends or locals? I'm sure that they had relationships with people that were natives, Native Americans, indigenous people, and perhaps it came from that. There's really no way, I guess, of knowing unless they specifically say.
Right.
But like, isn't the don't dig stuff also comes from what? Bad things happen. That's essentially what it is, right? Like, don't dig or bad things happen. So you kind of, the narrative around like this cursed land is what brings me back to that. I have zero answers, though. This is literally just my brain spewing out some of the thoughts. Right? Yeah. Some of the thoughts that I've had about it, at least, because I do think that there's a huge native component to this.
Oh, absolutely, I agree with that
story. Oh, yeah. So it does make me wonder.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it funny how like all this science, all this effort, and what we've almost come to the conclusion of is it's exactly what they told us it was.
Mm-hmm.
A portal. They're like, yeah, we kind of told you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Like we told. They literally put spirals everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, we put a big old spiral right here. That's funny.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find it here. I guess
you banned Jim. Is that what happened?
Yeah, Jim got banned, I guess, or something.
Jim,
but I'm
troublemaker.
Such a troublemaker, that guy. And he can't watch the show now. I don't see.
Skywatcher was also banned. My whole chat disappeared as I was talking.
Mine did too for a minute. It did. The whole thing just vanished. I don't see
same.
his name. Let me refresh. Maybe I just need to refresh. I don't see. I'm trying to fix it so that Jim is not banned.
Jim was banned once before, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's. This is his second time, I think. I like what I think earlier y'all were talking about like what or was it Shannon? You were like, this is like finding out you have like a basement you didn't know existed.
Yeah.
Like, that literally happened in Turkey, where that guy was getting remodeling done, and they find
and it's like an entire.
Oh, this could have supported 50,000.
It was literally an underground city that was like 40 stories down.
Had wells, had air shafts.
That they used when they were hiding from persecution at some point, like during the Rome.
Yeah, that's what they want me to believe. That? I do not.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't think Christians who were trying to flee Roman persecution had the time to, hey, let's carve out this huge intricate thing that will be able to house 50,000 people in life. So I believe it is a remnant of the people who built Göbekli Tepe. These were the peoples who were surviving the Young Adrias impact, all that. So
Well,
I
is it possible
don't
that
buy
it
the
existed
mainstream
and
narrative.
then is it possible that it existed and then Christians did in fact flee
Yes,
to
the
the place that
Christians
already
did use
existed?
places that already existed, but they did not create them. Yes, that's my thought. I mean, I could
What's funny is I'm
totally
not sure I've ever read that they created them.
Mm.
If I've read like specific things, I've read that they've used them, but I don't know if I've ever read that they created them. I just think it's amazing to think about it being created in the first place, because I think about digging a hole in my yard and it's just like, that's a lot. Like people digging entire 40-floor cities underground.
Right. And so they did this. What can we do now with the millions of dollars that we lose track of?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't say I can't find where I can bring him back. I don't know. I don't see it.
No. Maybe the Giants helped. Yep. I agree with that thought too. SoCal gal. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat while you're trying to figure out.
I was trying to. I appreciate you guys carrying on while I was trying to fix this, but I don't see. He's not on the unless it's listed somewhere else. So sorry, Jim. We'll try to get this figured out. He got put in YouTube jail. Yeah.
You should be able to come back on like Facebook or something though, if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, he can come back on Facebook
if he knows about it.
If he's in our group. So sorry about that, Jim. If you, we'll get this figured out at some point here and get you back. Sorry. Didn't mean to do that to you. But
he disappeared like the rocket.
Just like the rocket. He is gone. So let me get back to my pictures here real quick. I'm telling you, Baby Seth has got a lot to say tonight about this, and I'm really curious what his thoughts are.
Baby Seth, yeah, Baby Seth is very talkative. He's probably giving us all the answers we need right now.
Yes, he probably is. He knows what's going on. He really does. He's telling us the answers to the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the cat. And again, like I said, I had a couple different pictures of this right here, and this is the one that, and it shows the tunnel, and this one gives, and I'm assuming that now we're looking at this tunnel effect. He's getting tacos. Yeah, the van came by, the coach came by, the taco van. Oh, there he is. Jim's back as someone else.
Time out.
All right. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that, Jim. We're trying to fix it. We didn't mean to pop you out of there. So I'm glad you're back anyway. So this one here kind of shows, and you see where the triangle is, and you see where the tunnel supposedly travels, if it is a tunnel. And that's right there at the anomalous zone. So I don't know.
It goes pretty far back into the mesa.
It does go way back into the mesa.
And right into that place that, I mean, the area is collapsed. So, I mean, that it literally is the exact, it's right there. Yep. That was in last season.
Yep. So yeah, big rooms over 60 feet, the big yellow circles. Yep. So what's the next step? What would you be doing right now this season once the weather cleared? I'd be drilling right there where that big yellow spot is. This one right here. I'd be drilling a big old hole right there. And did he say how deep these were? I don't think he did. Did he say that?
No, I don't remember.
Well, he did explain that I don't know, maybe it's in our notes. He talks about the different
10
dots
to 20 meters below the
having
surface?
a different color representing a different.
Oh, that's right. The purples were closer. Well, he said the purples were closer, and I think he did give us a little bit of. Hang on, let me look at my synopsis.
Yeah,
the
green.
It says the map shows multiple anomalies that are 10 to 20 meters below the surface. Many of the anomalies seem to be voids, which does not match the surrounding area. The size of the void is in the tens of feet and seems to be in linear form. Jeremiah shows a 2D rendering from above of what they see underground, and some of the structures are 60 feet wide. Right.
The map shows multiple anomalies that are under the maze, that are 10 to 20 meters below the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd be drilling. I'd be drilling right here. Right there on that one. I'd be drilling it. I'd be drilling a big old pipe down through there right now to see what's down there, man, and put a camera down that thing. So I don't know. Is that what they're going to be doing? Is that what they are doing? I don't know. But you know what's going to happen is when they put that drill down in there, they're going to hit something hard, and it's going to go and go and go and go, and they can't. It's going to spin and spin, and they're not going to be able to get past it because of this impenetrable barrier that they ran into with everything else when they tried to drill. And they're going to come back out going, well, I don't know. The bit looks fine, but we just couldn't get into it. Is that what's going to happen? Because he said they were metal.
I mean, I would want to have like a land x-ray done or something, and that specific area before I would do anything, or a land CT scan, I guess is rather what it would be.
Yeah, there you go. Another CT or GPR. Get that guy out with his super GPR.
Just that area to see if it could be.
Yes.
I would be playing the rabbi chant and the Blazing Bear song while drilling. Maybe you open up
and shooting rockets.
I was gonna say,
yeah, right? Yeah,
and shooting rockets with lasers.
Because I feel like drilling, we're gonna get the same result that we've been getting.
Yeah,
it's not gonna go anywhere. So they got to figure out.
What if they went down beside it and then went to the side?
Wow, now you're thinking like Oak Island.
Mm-hmm.
I've never watched Oak Island, so I don't know.
They drilled down alongside. They did a tunnel alongside the money pits trying to get into the money pit
to avoid the flood shafts and
the flood tunnels. Yeah,
interesting.
And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to your question, Jeff, of like what's next. I guess is go all in for me on what the seismic the
sensors
data will show. Sensors, thank you. The seismic sensors. I'm really curious what that's going to show us, because there's been multiple times in the past where they feel rumbling and it's like, wait, what? Like there's no it's not earthquakes happening.
But it makes sense though, because there's this hollow area now. We know that there's a hollow area, and if you're thinking about rumbling, all that takes is, like the reverberation of the inside of the.
At one point, I thought they were talking about fracking the oil wells causing the earthquakes or the rumbling or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's just a paper release that says that there's a real strong connection. I mean, if you look at like Oklahoma now has like the most earthquakes in America, that's a pretty recent development.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that being a direct connection. I do wonder too if this hollow area has anything to do with transient bursts of like radiation and stuff, because now we know that there's literally a way for things to be traveled. I mean, you don't really know, I guess, what it could be, but like there's clearly a way for something to be transient and come out into the land, because depending on what feeds into it.
Right. Somebody mentioned about these, but the possibility of these having something to do with government tunnels that are down there. If these were government tunnels, I think they would be forced to stop at this point.
I think so too.
I think the government would already have intervened and said, okay, you guys need to stop now. And maybe tell them why, but not us. I don't know. But I think that they're not going to, if it is government, then they're not going to let us do that. We have the infrasound spikes and then the seismic activity spikes. So maybe sound reverberating in the tunnels transfers.
That's exactly what I was. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
So the things moving. So let's say like that one orb that went into the mesa and then seemed to come out of the mesa. Do y'all think that was transmedium, just moving through regular Earth, or do you think it was moving through those tunnels? Because it seemed to come out where that one yellow.
Yeah, it did.
Spot is. So.
Wow. I don't know.
And I agree with that too.
If the government had anything out there, they would never have left. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And like I said, also, they wouldn't let them do anything. They wouldn't let them go any further. It would be an all stop at this point. So, it's, you put all these, again, I go back to that. You put all these pieces together of this puzzle, and now you've got tunnels down there. And I believe in Jeremiah Pate's equipment, and I believe that he did find us, and that's showing us there is tunnels down there. Okay, if the tunnels were, you talk about the tunnels and when they could have been constructed, and there's a lot of questions, tons of questions, but one of them would be if the tunnels are recent and have nothing to do with the anomaly, then there's still an anomaly there that needs to be discovered or figured out what's going on with it. And that has been going on for many, many, many years. Even the Ute Indians have talked about weird things happening, and they got the portals, the stone spiral up there. They got the pictographs on the stone talking about it. So something weird's been going on. So if there's tunnels down there and they're recent because of mining or anything else like that, then I would have to say they have nothing to do with the anomaly.
Well, I mean, what a great way to confuse data too. Like if
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes things happen that are just naturally co-occurring factors that you're not aware of, that have nothing to do with your actual problem set, but you can't confront that and hone what you're trying to look at until you know that there's another variable that you didn't take into account.
Right.
So if they're able to say, like, some of this stuff is literally from this tunnel, which is natural, let's just say that's a possibility, it doesn't have to be. Then at least they can start discounting some of those things and really refocus on the stuff that is anomalous.
Right.
Because it's very, very possible that it's something entirely normal. It's also possible it's not, but
Right.
it could be. And it could just be confusing things. And now if they know what it is that could be confusing things, they can start crossing that stuff off of the list.
One of the things I was going to point out is, remember, they did drill in the triangle some time ago. This was season 2, I think. They did drill in a triangle, and they did hit an underwater or underground river water source. It looked like the water was moving pretty quickly down there. And I think that if I remember correctly, that tunnel was right about in here.
Yeah.
Right about in there. The part of it's still there. I think they left some of it there. Or was for a while.
You know what's really interesting though is when you think about us seeing stuff flying in and out of the mesa and this tunnel or whatever having water potentially in it, then you start thinking about how I think, Seth, you just kind of hinted at it, transmedium. We see a lot of this stuff recently in the news about some of these things coming out of the ocean, and how Bottle Hollow might be part of this in some way.
Maura asked, are these headed to the Bottle Hollow?
Yeah.
And it looks like it, yes.
It could be. Yeah, I was looking at the map and it's so close. So maybe it is. Maybe it's just a connector to the water.
Could be. I don't know. So many questions for season 5. Do we not have a lot?
All the questions.
How much have you guys done over the winter months that we don't even know about yet?
David asked what caused the triangle, and those are just roads, right? It wasn't anything.
So what I've been told is that it was just naturally formed from a lot of foot traffic, and I think it's interesting that was the selection that animals and people that naturally gravitated to that area to create that, because it wasn't like mapped out. It just was apparently a natural path of travel, which is very specific considering
as above, so
the
below.
The oddities of stuff. It's almost like, we'll just use feet to map out what's above so we can show you where you need to be looking. But yeah.
Boy, I tell you what, I can't wait as we begin to wrap up here. I can't wait for the sensors that Omnitech has had out there, is putting out there, and they're talking about the seismic sensors to detect anything or anyone walking on the ranch, and it will automatically tell the cameras, point over here because we picked up something over here. Now we picked up something over there. Remember when the orb showed up in the one frame of the trail cam? That orb showed up in the field, and the guys, so it's going to hopefully detect. I don't know if that would be picked up by seismic, but what other sensors are they putting out there? And is it going to be able to pick that up and get a shot of it or look at it before it's gone? I mean,
I hope that it's able to pick up whether or not something actually disappears from like sometimes on the camera we see stuff and it looks like it's disappeared, and I know that some of that is why isn't my brain working? I know some of it is as it gets filtered through YouTube or whatever for us, compression issues.
Compression, thank you. Yeah.
But some stuff, even for them, like when Eric's reviewed things, it's hard to know if something's actually disappeared. So I'd be curious if it will be able to see that, if it like fully disappears from the whatever the mapping and then comes back. Oh, I can imagine it. It's so cool.
Anyone or anything, Michelle says, and that's what I said too. Yeah, anything or anyone moving or walking around, it's going to know, and it's going to pick it up, and it's going to tell the cameras, go look.
That's a good warning to any type of person that feels like they can sneak on.
Yes, that's the other part of that too. The security of it all.
It's a great security system.
Yeah, that's something that Royston talked about, about the security level that they're going to have there. And then you see Dragon going,
It's much needed. So that's great.
Much, much needed. More so than ever before. A couple of quotes that I wanted to mention too. Thomas had said this, and this was at the very end of the show. They're doing spot interviews. Thomas said, Skinwalker Ranch may be the place where we start unlocking some of the mysteries of the world around us. I think that's great, and I think he's right.
I agree.
Eric said this one, and I thought this was really cool too. What we are witnessing is classically impossible, and that is dang fascinating. In true Eric fashion.
I can hear him say that.
But you think about it, and it is. Both of those quotes, I had to write them down because both of them are spot on. And then Brandon saying that bit about the the footage that they have captured there is better than any footage that we've seen publicly about UAPs.
And something we didn't actually talk about, but I want to throw out there. Can we just appreciate for a moment the evident enthusiasm that Travis had during his presentation? He was so excited about it. And it was really, really neat to see that he took the time to put it together, but you could tell it was something that he was very excited to be able to put together in the first place. Right. So
I would love to have seen the whole thing. I mean, because you saw when the meeting started, it was early in the day. And then by the time they got done, it was dark.
Yeah. Long day.
And we saw 30 minutes of it? Yeah. Maybe 30 minutes of it. I want to see the whole thing. I want to see the whole meeting. I don't care how long it takes or how long I have to sit in a chair watching it. I want to see the whole meeting. But we won't. But anyway, we got to see the highlights from it. And you're right. That presentation that he did, I think would have been cool if we would have been able to see the whole thing. 10 hours. They filmed over 10 hours. See, that's what I'm saying. They started early in the day and finished at night. I want to see the whole thing. Don't you?
Yes, I do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fly on the wall.
Yeah.
I want to see everything though. I want to see all the outtakes.
I do too. So, folks, I mean, here we are with this. Season 4 was fantastic. I'm really looking forward to see what they show. If they show anything new, or they just do a wrap up next Tuesday. I'm really looking forward to that show next Tuesday to see what they present to us. But I am super, super excited for a season 5. We don't know if there is going to be one. We assume there's going to be one.
How could there not be one after that?
Exactly.
Think about the season finale. It's in the news now. This would be the worst time ever to not have a season 5. Are you kidding me?
I know, right? There has to be one. And I am so excited because now, like I said earlier, we saw seasons 1, 2, and 3 were really, really good. 4 was a knockout of the park, and 5 is, I just can't wait. I think 5 is going to blow the lid off of the future of UAPs in this world.
I think it's going to definitely keep pace. Sorry. Go ahead, Seth.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's like what Eric was saying. I think we're finally, of course, we're still getting lots of questions, but we're finally getting some answers. And I think that's what season 5 is going to be for us. It's getting us closer and closer.
And this bad boy right here is going to be working all the way out there. And when I'm out there and I'm helping Carl the Crusher, supposedly Carl mentioned it last time on the show, and he was in chat and he was talking about getting to 300 acres that needs to be combed over looking for pictoglyphs and pictographs. And I'm going to be running this bad boy around the whole thing too, just to see what's
We're
out
never
there.
going to see Jeff without it now. It's going to be, you need one of those, like, you need like one of those cell phone holsters for it.
Yes.
It's just,
going to be on my side.
I'm ready.
Phenomicon. I'll be walking around, everybody going, what is that, a big fat cell phone? No, let me show you.
It's better.
It is better.
Oh, that's great.
My goodness. Yes, we're going to have a great time with it, but I tell you, it's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's I just saw the Twitch one pop up there. I don't know. What do you guys think? Final thoughts. Tri-slinger. Quick draw.
I think for me, the big takeaways were excitement for Omnitech, getting the Athena on there.
Yep.
The Lunasond, that was a huge thing. And of course, the real possibility that all this talk of Wormhole might not just be us having fun speculating, but might actually be true, and we could somehow understand this. And I'm hoping for some form of communication with whatever it is we're dealing with.
That's what I'd love to see happen.
I'm glad that you used the name Athena, because I do ask the question as to whether or not it's mere coincidence that Prometheus is making a show about the ranch, and then Athena, which is a totally different thing, comes on to the ranch, because that story in Greek mythology is tied together. Athena being the goddess of wisdom and helping Prometheus. And so it's very odd, the parallels.
Well, yeah, I agree. And it was something that I feel like a lot of us had already noticed about. Hey, that's an interesting name for that company and all these shows they have. And when I saw the, I don't know if they had said Athena yet when they first were there, but their shirt had the owl with the robot. That's a cool logo. So I went online and looked up Athena, and I thought, all these. But no, it's a coincidence, Shannon. Not at all.
It's a very weird coincidence.
I wanted all of this.
And look, Athena is now here, and the brain's going to get turned on to bring wisdom. I think my wrap-up comment, is, how lucky are we to be along for the ride? Season 4, we were, and now going into season 5, like what an extraordinary thing. And I do believe that it's going to keep pace with the stuff that's going to continue to come out over the coming years. I think that Skinwalker Ranch is going to continue to be a part of that narrative. This season did not disappoint whatsoever.
Yeah, I forgot to leave out a Kate. Sorry, Kate. How to pronounce it?
Kate.
Thank you. Yeah, Kate. We talked before in the Discord. I agree with her. I forgot to mention the bringing in the Native American traditions and stories and the music. That was a huge part.
Absolutely. I hope we see more of that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed. And I think it's very good. And I think Jim Morris, hopefully, we saw him only in like one episode talking with the guy at the radio station, and then we saw Candace and Tom bringing in and talking to those two young guys that were able to come and share an experience. I hope we see more of that. I really do. I want to see more of the locals getting in there and talking about their experiences if they are willing to do so.
Yeah,
because again, that's a taboo, and you've heard everybody else coming around, and they wanted to, instead of saying the actual word Skinwalker, they're just going SW. SW, because they don't want to say the word. And I respect them for that. I really do. I think that's really good.
Well,
Now,
words
go ahead,
have
please.
power. I mean,
Yes.
words have power, and for certain cultures and things, these are very powerful words.
Yeah, exactly. Can't wait. Now, don't forget, folks, next week we're going to be doing a wrap up on Friday. We're going to talk about the whole season, basically. And I think that's kind of what they're going to be doing on Tuesday night for their wrap up of the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch and also Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. We're going to be doing that, and so we're going to talk about that too. I really want to, because we will kind of go over, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my highlights for the season 4. But I want to hear from you all in the chat. So for those of you that are here with us and will be with us next Friday night, I really want to hear from you all too, what you think. I might, I was thinking if I could come out with some kind of but not everybody's in our Facebook group, so that's going to be hard to do. But we will. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, didn't one time, I think you were getting at asking questions, like have the audience answer. I feel like one time you and Tom did that with Oak Island, where y'all were like, "What's your favorite theory for this?" And we would I would send a chat on that.
It was fun.
So I thought that was a lot of fun.
Everybody. Yeah, so I want to hear from the
cool.
chat next week. I want to hear what you guys think about this season as well. Obviously you'll sit and hear us talking about it, but I want to hear what you guys think about it as well. So be ready for that next Friday night, 7:30. And then don't forget also, we're going to be talking with John and Stan. And I called them the Paranormal Rangers because that's what they were called on a couple of shows on their YouTube channel. They are were Navajo Rangers, of course. But they were kind of labeled the Paranormal Rangers also. And the stories that they're going to tell us is going to be fascinating. Can't wait for that. And then look forward to David Russell and Chris Bledsoe coming on. We'll announce that as soon as we know when they're going to be here. We'll get that announced as well. So we hope you guys will join us next Friday night. There will be no show on Thursday night. I'm going to get some days off here and get some stuff done. But we're going to be going. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell, because while I'm out and about, I am going to be going live at any given point of the day or night
with your tri-field meter.
With my tri-field meter, as I'm going around Devil's Tower, because I'm going to Devil's Tower, and I'm going to be out there with this thing going. Ed, tell you what, you really want to see something freaky with one of these? Go over to your microwave when it is not on. When it's not turned on, even.
When it's not
on. Yeah. Eric told me once that you should go in your car and have that on and then drive near like power lines.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I will be.
To see like how much of that stuff is just
emanating from those wires.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I went over to the microwave and it jumped up to like 60 or 70 when it was a baseline of 0.1, 0.2 around the house. Then I turned the microwave on. It pegged out. It pegged it out. It went completely lines across there. Your microwave, your microwave is radiating you from the inside out.
It's real bad. It's real bad. Real bad. All the technology we have in our house, it's so awesome. It's but real bad.
It's also no, I don't know. I say that. I don't know. I'm not going to say that. I shouldn't say that. Yeah. All right. Thank you, folks, for being here with us tonight. We really, really appreciate that. Stay tuned for more. We're not giving up yet. We're going to be back. We're going to be talking about all this stuff. And anytime we hear anything new that we are allowed to talk about, we're going to go live and talk about it. So be prepared for that as well. And hopefully we get another Ranch Revelations real soon to hear them wrap up from the season finale. So thank you, Seth. Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate you so very much for being here and helping me out with this.
Always a pleasure.
And everyone in the chat, appreciate you all as well. You guys have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. And we will see you here Friday night, 7:30 for the wrap up of Skinwalker Ranch. All right. Good night, everyone.